welcome to our, I think it's already the third community call of NeoNephos since we joined. I'm Christian Neu, I'm the governing board chair of the foundation, and that series we also want to attract new potential members and to also increase adoption and collaboration. Therefore, we have a small presentation deck today, but maybe first Esther from Linux Foundation can say something about the antitrust.
Yeah, usually all the meetings that are hosted by the Linux Foundation or Linux Foundation Europe are under the antitrust policy notice. So it's just to remind everyone that here we can have competitors, but this is a neutral place, so we want to trust and be nice with all the participants. So please avoid bad behavior. And just if you have any questions about the policies, you can go to the website of Linux Foundation Europe and you can review the policy there.
All right, thanks. Then I would continue with the agenda. So as I said, this is a third community call, and we were thinking, so what could we show you today? Maybe as a first question to the round, is anyone here who didn't hear anything about NeoNephos? So what we can do, I can show a short presentation about what NeoNephos is and how you can get involved, what we are planning right now from events perspective. And we also have later on a project overview where our colleague Florian Müller from SAP, who is our TAC representative, can give a short overview about the projects, what we are currently have published, and then have a Q&A where we discuss your questions, and also some questions from our side. Are you interested in the foundation explanation? If you didn't hear anything yet, maybe you could just raise your hands or give a thumbs up, then I can quickly jump in. Okay, sounds good. Then I'll get started. So what is NeoNephos? We started NeoNephos last year when we also, as SAP, started with our IPSIDE-sys engagement. We had a lot of discussions how SAP is open sourcing their content for quite some times, also decades where we are open sourcing open source. But the main question is often how do you publish your content right, and how do you get adoption? How can you get collaboration in it? We have a lot of projects with that and got some. Ideas and so on. But the thing is, when we are looking at projects like IPSIDE-sys, which stands for Important Project of European Interest, is the biggest impact is with a foundation like with Linux Foundation as a host. Therefore, the decision came that when we joined that European project, IPSIDE-sys, that it makes sense to bring the project under IPSIDE-sys. What you see here, 8RR stands for Open Reference Architecture, which is like the umbrella of IPSIDE-sys from a product perspective. And beyond that, this is our SAP project, Apiro Reference Architecture, where we publish our projects from SAP side. And the foundation is something laid down, that vision statement that we are aiming to create that sovereign cloud edge continuum for Europe. So that's the mission statement for the foundation. We have already projects which we transfer to the foundation. And in general, we are looking from a software perspective, having all these layers covered. We are providing cloud native solutions which everyone can use as a blueprint. You don't need to use every solution. So you can just pick and choose from your fruit basket if you like it or not. So we are really open. like bare metal iron core, for example, or if you want to with Kubernetes, or if you want to go with OpenStack, that's also possible. So a lot of possibilities. I think that's easy for that. If you want to have a look, you can go to the NeoNetForce homepage, the projects what we have, but we have also our website apyro.ra.eu. I can paste in the chat later on, where we have a lot of technical documentation for that. And this foundation, we want to bring adoption as we see this is the right momentum, where we see that Europe needs to stand up for itself for that digital sovereignty, and we want to work with you. So therefore, we choose NeoNetForce to be part of the Linux Foundation and to create that community around it, and to give the projects the chance to manage themselves. We don't want to have too much saying in it. So every project will have like a technical steering committee, and then they can decide in the end how the project develops. I think that's some basic topic from a management perspective of the foundation. I will show you later on quickly the governance structure. But I think that's important that we are working transparent. We want to work with you, and we want to really keep it open, and we are happy to have new members or people to collaborate with in the foundation. With that, these are our current members, what we have. So SAP, Stacked Systems, 23 Technologies, Clyso, Cyberus, and TNO were the founding members. Now we have two new general members joining the foundation, like Excellent Technologies and Elastics. More also currently in the pipeline where we have discussions to join the foundation, but I think that's more to come, and you should see this information in our next community call. Stefan, do you want to say something about your company?
Yeah. Yes, thanks. My name is Stefan Meyer. I'm CTO of Excellent Technologies. We are a small company from Munich, and we are the creators of the MapStack.io project, which is basically bare metal provisioning set of open source services with the focus to create Kubernetes clusters on bare physical machines. We automate also the complete network topology, so we have controllers running on open compute switches, running the Sonic operating system. So, and together with Gartner, where we are integrated from the beginning, or which we integrated from the beginning, and we are premium supported infrastructure implementation for Gartner. So we create Kubernetes as a service in on-premise on bare metal machines. That's what we do. Basically, since 6 years, focused on or tailored for the critical infrastructure. So we have customers in the financial industry, in power distribution companies, and so forth.
Thank you. All right, so I would continue. This is a governance structure what we have for the foundation. So basically, we have like the governing board, which shows the companies from the slide before, and with that we have the technical advisory council, which will be set by each technical steering committee chairperson, and with that. That TSC will guide the governing board for the technical decisions, but the projects, how they operate, like the Gartner project, they still decide on their own with their committers within the TSC how the projects are running. So basically everybody can contribute to the projects. You could also contribute projects within the foundation when you would apply for these. You would keep your full control of it, and yeah, we want to keep it really easy as we want to grow the foundation as much as possible with that momentum of what we have. Yeah, how to get involved? As I said, you could become a member. You could also contribute. In the end, we are happy for every new member which is joining the foundation. But in the end, what's most important is to have a successful project, right? Therefore, if you would like to have a look at the projects what we just transferred, or maybe are interested in joining your project, we are happy to have a discussion on that. And yeah, in the end, that's it to that. If you want to be a member, we have 3 different categories. We start with the associate membership, which is for free for academics or non-profit organizations. We also have the general membership, which depends on the amount of employees working in the company. And then we have the premium members with the fee they are paying. They also get 1 board seat on the governing board and also a seat for the technical advisory council. So basically, projects are getting 1 seat per project in the technical advisory council plus every premium member, and with that on a merit base, there the technical decisions are then made within the technical advisory council. If you have questions, that's per year, and I think we have like a 2-year commitment with that, right, Esther? So that's per year.
Yeah, it's correct for premiers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so again, we wanted to keep it more short this time. We had 2 community calls where we had some different ways on presenting. So we would like to keep it short this time. I have the possibility of showing you soon after this area the projects, and then have more interactive communication with you, as we are also interested in how to proceed. Just to give you a short glimpse on where we are. So this is our timeline, what we worked on last year. So we began in the beginning of 2024, worked for the first announcement on the Linux Foundation Membership Summit until we had the chance to present at KubeCon in April the announcement of the foundation, which was really big as we achieved to gain a spot at the keynote walk on. Really big and thankful to have the chance on presenting Neon FOSS before 12,000 developers. And since we are now working on the foundation, we started to transfer all the projects what we're working on, and of course we have new projects which are also coming later this year of what we are having in the timeline. But I think this gives you a good overview where we are right now. So basically, for the projects which we already transferred, we established the technical steering committee that every project can manage its own. We are currently in the draft mode of that project transfer, meaning that all transfer steps are finalized. So we needed to transfer the trademarks, for example, and then now we need to also get everything covered that it is owned by Linux Foundation, also content-wise on GitHub. But the projects currently, development is still ongoing. With the establishment of the TC, we can now having our first technical advisory council formation meeting, which is on the 18th of July. And what is also interesting for every general member is that we have for every 5 general members also 1 representative nomination, which will also get a seat on the governing board. So I think that's interesting to know. And if you are interested, want to talk with us, we have 2 pages here regarding the events. So these are the events we already had. So the KubeCon in London, for example, we had already a webinar which was hosted. We had colleagues in New York presenting at the UN Open Source Week. We were in Cloudland. I think that was also last week. And what we are planning now is the next community call should be around, it's not official and not sent yet, but the next community call should be around the 13th of August. We will be in Amsterdam, where we have, I think, 3 or 4 presentations, 3 presentations, I think, and 1 panel discussion with the founding members of the foundation, which is really interesting. So if you have the chance to be at the Open Source Summit, please join us. We can have nice discussions. We will also be in Erfurt, Germany at the Bitkom Open Source Forum. We will also represent the projects in Berlin when we are part of the ipside development again. And what is also planned is to have some presentations at the Linux Foundation Europe Member Summit in Ghent, Belgium. Okay, so that is it already from my side. From an overview perspective, if you're interested now, Florian could give you a short presentation, high-level presentation of the projects, what we're working on. If you are interested on a little bit more information on the projects, we can also do that. But we can also prepare something with the experts in a separate meeting next time. So if you want, you can put something in the chat if you are interested here. The projects, what we are currently transferred, are the following 11. And with that, I would hand over to Florian.
Yeah, before I start that, I think there's a question in the comments about if it's possible to bring a project without being a member. Yes, that's possible. We haven't set up the technical advisory council yet, right? So as Christian said, this will be done next week. But basically, the idea is that you bring the project to the advisory council, which will have a look at it, and if it fits into the whole theme of NeoNefus, then it's certainly possible to put a project within the foundation without being a member.
Exactly.
All right. So today we have 11 projects in the NeoNefus Foundation. This was basically the project that the foundation was founded with. As Christian already said, there are more in the pipeline that are coming probably within the next few weeks. We can do this now in different ways. So I basically prepared a small slide for each of those projects and could talk about a minute about each of those projects. So to give you a rough overview where we are. That could be very boring. The other option would be if you have a special project that you want to know something about, we can also take a few more time and talk about this instead of, and then skip a few others. Is there any opinion, anything? Do you want to hear everything in a short form, or should we focus on a few specific ones and spend a little more time on it? Okay, if there's no response, I think then we just do a very, very quick overview across all of them.
Okay, then I can switch to the next slide.
Yeah. So OpenMFP, it's a micro front end platform. So the basic idea is that you can build, for example, a dashboard, and different development teams contribute different components to it. So how do you make this a coherent user experience, have authentication for all those in place and things like that. That's what this platform is about. So you have different teams providing different parts of a dashboard or UI, and this platform will make it happen, that they can come together and work together. Okay, next one. Open resource discovery. This is basically a specification where you can define how your API, your events, your data products or whatnot look like, how they are connected to each other. The idea is that with this information, if you put this information right beside your API, there could be API management picking that up, making connections between them, and basically allow you API management across different products. This is something that was built up by SAP and is already in production at SAP and quite a few products. Next one. OpenMCP. So MCP is actually has nothing to do with AI. So the project was before the whole MCP wave started. So MCP stands for Managed Control Plane. It's basically an orchestration service that allow you to define your infrastructure that you want, and it will set it up for you using the different tools that are necessary. It will basically do this all for you. It's an orchestration platform for services. Next one. Open component model, again, another standard with a little bit of tooling behind it, or the tooling is actually something that will come probably is already in the pipeline as a project. The open component model is a framework to standardize software descriptions, mainly for delivery. So you can define what your products, your software consists of with all its dependencies and the dependencies of the dependencies. You can define the versioning, the metadata, you can all of this, and then you basically create a software bill of delivery. This is something that you can take and install somewhere. So again, Open Component itself is just a specification. There's tooling for this as well that allows you, for example, to collect all the things that you have described, put it on a USB stick, go to an air-gapped data center and install it there. Next slide. Garda, I guess I don't have to talk a lot about Garda. It's a project that is about managing Kubernetes cluster, automatic provisioning, management, operations, all the things, but I guess I don't need to explain this. Next one. Garden Linux is a Debian-based Linux distribution. Well, as the name suggests, it's derived, or it was required by Gardner. So this is the software, the Linux distribution that is used in Gardner by default. Next one. Ironcore. Ironcore is about managing a bare metal infrastructure with Kubernetes means. So it's basically a Kubernetes control plane where you can use the Kubernetes resource model, basically YAML files to order bare metal infrastructure like compute and storage and things like that. Next one. Cobalt Core is an OpenStack distribution that combines cloud native and non-cloud native workloads. It's there to be able to host traditional workloads that were not built in a non-cloud native way, but also running Kubernetes based workload with Gardener basically on top. Next one. Greenhouse is a management tool for large-scale cloud infrastructures. You basically can monitor your whole infrastructure with this. You get a dashboard and everything. It's extensible, so you can add your own functionality, add security, compliance tooling, whatnot. Greenhouse is basically, or the origin of Greenhouse is from Cobalt Core, basically from the OpenStack world, but you can basically monitor everything with that. Next one. Catalyst, I'm probably the wrong person to talk about this. Christian Weiss can say probably more about this. This is from Telecom. So this is about connecting a telco API and bringing it to the Kubernetes world. So it's basically wrapping or translating or bridging the gap between an existing telco API to a cloud to a Kubernetes resource model, cloud native orchestration type of thing. Next one.
Maybe Christian, do you want to say something about it? You just came
Just
up.
one sentence.
Yeah.
This is also about federation, a resource orchestration across different providers. Who is interested in that? We have next week a first community call. That is maybe interesting for all the people who would like, let's say, to dive a bit deeper in this whole, let's say, resource sharing, federation of resources. And this is also within in the IPSI focus topic now for the second half of the year in the architecture working group. And who is interested, just write me a message here and I can invite you for the call.
Right, thank you.
Platform mesh. Yeah, so now this is the big glue in the middle. So you have seen in a lot of places, I mentioned the Kubernetes resource model. A lot of projects are relying on that, or like Gartner are providing Kubernetes itself. The platform mesh is an environment that where service providers can register their service and service consumers can find those services, order resources from those service providers, and managing the lifecycle of those instances that they have ordered. It's completely based on the Kubernetes resource model. You basically write a piece of YAML, put it on in the right place, and this will then spin up the service or whatever you ordered. So and it works basically across the whole stack, right? So you could plug Iron Core in there and deal with the bare metal infrastructure. But Catalyst would be another one, right? So we can order Catalyst resources for the platform mesh. But basically everything that you can think of in the cloud on whatever level in the stack should be able to be manageable by the platform mesh. And this is also the core of the Apiro project that Christian mentioned in the beginning. This is where all the things come together.
I think there was also just a question by David, if it's open for also competing overlapping projects. And I think that's what you just answered, right?
Yeah, so as I said, well, when we get a new proposal for a project, then of course we have to look at it if it fits into the story. But yeah, so.
Okay, so what is the story? What is then the story?
The story is we want to have different pieces of a sovereign stack for Europe. So it probably doesn't make sense to have here 7 different Linux distributions, right? So that would probably difficult. But if there's an overlap, that if the overlap isn't really big, right? If it's not just a one-to-one copy of an already existing project, then we can talk about it.
But 2 different Linux distributions would be fine, right?
Depends.
Okay,
Right?
but we have Linux distributions for reasons, so that's why I asked. So they coexist for reasons, and I wonder if we copy that, or if we just try to cover initially like a broad range that we have like a digital serenity from hardware to software. That was my question. But it is an individual choice by choice decision, what you let in the end?
Yes.
Governance?
Yes. So there are no straight. Well, one of the main problems at the moment is that the technical advisory council that is eventually in charge of making this decision hasn't been set up yet. It will be formed next week, and I guess there will be at some point there will be rules and we need to lay some groundwork on how we manage stuff and how we judge stuff. This simply doesn't exist yet.
Okay, so to sum it up, if I pitch something which is competing with something else, but the pitch is good enough, so you will let it in.
If the pitch is good enough, yes.
Okay, all right.
Hey, this is Vasu. Was this question towards platform mesh, or was this question just generally?
It's a general question, yeah. So if I look at the project, I also asked earlier, like, why not all projects are in all the, let's call them initiatives? So that was confusing to me. It's not only about Apero. So Vasu, thank you for answering already, but it's like in general, if I looked at HII and Apero, NeoNephos, some are in all and some others not. And I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's confusing also with Eurostack. There's another confusion here.
Yeah, correct. But I'd like to answer maybe about the diversity with respect to one example. We've got Stefan Meyer here in the call. I saw this. There is some form of common interest. In this case, between Stefan and us, we are co-developing the Gardener piece. We do not use the same Linux distribution underneath, right? But this is enough glue, and that allows us to collaborate and look at the and collaborate on a higher level. In this case, it is the Gardener ecosystem in which we collaborate. Now, Stefan Meyer has an excellent underlay, an infrastructure as a service bare metal underlay, which they built, right? And we are totally looking forward for that project to come into the NeoNephos organization. I hope Stefan will make that suggestion at some point, right? And it totally competes with what we're doing in Iron Core, but that is okay, right? And when it comes to the Linux, it's similar. We are spending now a lot of effort to actually make our Linux distribution that we will be contributing. It's based out of the Debian ecosystem, by the way. We're going to put certification into it. We're going to make sure that it works with certain GPU hardware and get support from that and for that kind of use cases. We will put so much effort into it that it is usable in our let's say industry use cases. And if you want to bring in another Linux distribution that has a similar value, then yeah, let's do that. Maybe we'll have some overlap and we can cross-pollinate each other. But doing the effort twice, I mean, that is exactly what the TSC and the tech colleagues technically should decide, right? And again, we're doing it as industry. This is a first for many of us, right? But it's the only way forward, right? So there, we all have a common denominator here.
And there are, of course, also other options, right? So we haven't really talked about it, but if we see two projects that are basically doing the same thing, but with maybe different focus, hey, why not join forces, right? So that could be another option. Not sure if it makes sense in our projects, but that could be another option, right? That we
got it. Yeah, I mean, you gave a good example of Linux distributions, right? So we have many Linux distributions for reasons, like, and I see it like this, that I would like to see that evolving. I understand the governance, the efficiency point, and like some common ground. But if you like, I see it like Kubernetes is a kernel, yeah. So and we build stuff around it, where Linux has also the same kernel, where people build different package managers. So this is what I would like to see then also in an initiative like this. Okay, let's see.
And maybe to answer another question that you have asked, you see the different projects turning up in NeoNephos and Apero and IPSIDE and whatnot. One of the reasons for NeoNephos is that this will be a long-term initiative, right? So the EU-funded things will go away at some point, right? So those projects this open source project that will be created shouldn't disappear into the void. The NeoNephos is the place where we want to keep this for the next several decades.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we are bringing a lot of efforts right now into this foundation, and I mean, we are giving all of our trademarks and everything to the foundation to bring it to long-term success, because we see it doesn't help just pushing some code into a repository if nobody uses it or contributes to it. So we want to get adoption, and that's why we have the idea of NeoNephos as a long-term idea. I think there were also questions, how does it work together with NeoNephos, Apiro, IPSAI, and Bora? I think these are a lot of words. In the end, we are that foundation, and IPSAI CIS is that financing model for Europe with having 8RA as a loose product, but Apiro is the base content of what we are bringing to this foundation, only into the NeoNephos Foundation. We are publishing all of our content, what we are getting through that funding to the foundation in general. Yeah.
We had the idea of writing a blog post about this, how this is all connected, and I think we should do this sooner than later.
Like NeoNephos?
NeoNephos, Apiro, and IPSAI CIS, and Aura, and what those things are and how they are.
Yeah, I was about to do that. People are also confused, including myself, about the sovereign cloud stack. How does it relate? What about EuroStack? People wonder, like, what about Ionos and Dynamo and Abura's ZEC API? Yeah. So how does it all work? Are we competing? Why are we not joining forces? So what's going on? I'll probably write about it because I'm neutral. So you will see it. Maybe it's better if a neutral person writes it. So just my thought. Yeah.
David, maybe I can comment on that, what you just dropped. So the Sovereign Cloud Stack, was an initiative coming out funded by the Gaia X, and is still running, with Kurt Garloff and the guys. And I think this is, let's say, independent activity where they also wanted to create a kind of vanilla OpenStack, also with Kubernetes on top and so on. But as far as I followed them, I think they also have now a kind of entity around it, where you can then, let's say, support with the brand and so on. But this is, let's say, a bit more focused, I would say. We are more end-to-end, and a bit broader, also towards Europe. Then that one with Seca and Dynamo, I mean, this is also coming out from Francesco, from the previous Gaia X chairman, who funded this kind of initiative. There I see one challenge. I'm not sure if we convince nationally here in Germany or Europe-wide the cloud providers to implement an API, and then support an API model that is somehow proprietary managed by some company. I think this is a bit a governance issue.
I agree. I agree. But I see just the spec is out, platform mesh repo is empty, so they're just like a bit faster at the moment. But I fully agree, it has to be a foundation. It has to be backed by a foundation. So
and then you had a third point. What was it? EuroStack. EuroStack. I think this is. I think NeoNephos can pay into the EuroStack initiative, once there is a funding on European level. I'm not sure how the status is, but I heard they are building up something also with a lot of money in place. But NeoNephos can serve into the EuroStack. This is not contradictory.
I see. Okay, thanks. Great. Thank you very much.
Basu, do you have already a timeline for platform mesh?
The interesting thing is, and this is the reason why we first had to create an empty repo. The original development happened in the combination under the OpenMFP repo because, the visualization was the driver, right? And now the teams are actually dragging these projects apart. So that's the history of it. So it's not that there's nothing there, because actually Christian Weiss and colleagues from the telecom, as well as from, I'm not sure if somebody from the EcoFed consortia is here, we're actually driving this already. So it's not that it's just vaporware. And the idea is very simple. Just to explain what we're doing here, we are actually co-financing the KCP upstream project to make it production ready.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with KCP, that's basically the basis. We create workspaces of, let's say, unflavored Kubernetes control planes without all the pods and everything. And on the basis of that, we say, look, dear provider, you do not need to create proprietary REST APIs because everybody is creating their own. You do not need to create specialized SDKs for your proprietary REST API. You don't need to create CLIs. You don't need to create Terraform providers because internally, you already drink the same champagne that we're drinking, namely you're using Kubernetes internally for most of your services. And if you're not, you will soon be, or you will start creating cross-plane type of conversion providers. And why not take this machine room level API understanding and expose it directly to your customers? Because if you can do that for your internal platform, we can actually mesh the APIs together. All it's needed is a little bit of API magic, right? And of synchronization agents, right? That's where we're going after. And we think, and I just made that argument recently, you can find consortia and create Tosca, CKP, and whatnot, right? All of these consortia work if there is as a common denominator for a close-knit section of providers if there's a commercial gain to be had. But it doesn't work for competitors and for the mission that we're on, which means EU-wide. So if your competitor doesn't like that API, it's not going to be working as an EU-wide API. So what is needed for that is standards like Java, like Kubernetes, like Linux. These are standards that have value in themselves. And if you build upon these types of that technology, you have a much higher chance to agree from a machine room level. Yeah, I'm sorry to make a kind of a speech again, but that's my daily work. Yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you. So I also hope I didn't derail it too much here from the original agenda. It was just like a question that I had for some time.
Yeah, but the platform mesh is really, we can bring exactly competing things into it. So you can order a Postgres API, Postgres service over a platform mesh as well as a MySQL. And I can order a provider A and provider B through this. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it sounds like the original promise of IX comes true. Maybe.
Yeah, let's see.
And as Vasu said, so this thing already exists, right? So if you're looking for the code, look into the Open MFP repositories. There it is, and it will be split into the platform mesh repository probably soon.
Cool.
Right. Yeah. So I think these are the discussions which we want for the community call. So if you have questions or ideas, let us know, let us talk. And thanks for Vasu also bringing that information here. So, all right, let's continue. Do we have any project else? No, we don't. So we are already at the end. So again, if you have questions, maybe some of us, how did you find us? What can you bring to the table of Neonophos? Is something missing from your side, or are you interested in something specific? So we are really here to have an open talk, honest discussion, and we're happy to engage with you, and you can contact us. So we want to keep that as an open round. So if you want to open your micros, let's have the talk now.
Maybe I can ask a question. Stefan, thank you for joining here. How far is your AGPL discussion?
Not quite deep, actually, because we are involved in many customer projects, so there's not a lot of room to have some general discussions. But I didn't forget that. I will force that discussion and will bring that to an end for sure.
Super.
Okay. Yeah, I think these are some FAQs which we were asked last time. Like, I think one topic which will, came also up is it now it's a dominated German project. How is European the Europe is Europe controlling it somehow? We are getting that funding, but we are independent on the development. What we are bringing here, and it shouldn't be a German-focused foundation. So we are trying to involve as much as possible also international companies, and you should also see soon an update which is really amazing who joins, and so I think that's something to come. We are just at the beginning. Everything takes here time, but we are focusing on getting running. So that's my 5 cents. Anything else what you would like to ask David or anyone else?
Yeah, maybe I missed it. The Technical Advisor Council. So how far is NeoNephos with the governance and the rules of accepting new projects, but also like contributions and other things? So the governance model is for me very crucial to understand, like how this works.
I mean, we have the governance structure. Where is it here? Displayed. So basically, every information we have should be displayed on the website. If it's not there, it should be there soon, as we are currently working on getting every content ready. But as you asked, so the technical steering committees of the existing projects, what we have, they are created. Now, next week, we will have the formation of the Technical Advisory Council, which makes us also getting to work on the decision making on the project right now, like a temporary thing, what the governing board can decide, but that shouldn't be the case, right? It should be the Technical Advisory Council, and with that, there are also questions like how is the project lifecycle going on? What's like the acceptance of these projects? Which kind of level do you need to have to apply? Like sandbox or these kind of levels, what you know from CNCF. But yeah, I mean, having that formed next week, we are also happy to getting into the mode of approving projects. I mean, you could also reach out to us right now for the projects. We are here, we can see it, and we can have these discussions. And I think also next week should be here soon. It's on the 18th. So what day is it? I think it's Friday. And then, yeah, from a governance structure, we are completed. And what's open is that, as you can see here, the general members, they will get also the representative. This comes to September to give more companies the option to join NeoNephos and to be also able to directly get their vote in it. But this will also come, and then with that, there are also the options on having per 5 companies 1 seat for the governing board. Yeah.
But once the Technical Advisory Council is formed, it will probably take a few iterations until we have a complete rulebook of how we deal with new projects, for example. So this will not be there in the summer, right? So this will take a little bit of time.
As this is Linux Foundation based, I mean, it's Europe, but I expect that we will borrow here a lot of proven work of also like working groups, special interest groups, something like that we will see in the near future. Is that also the case?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we are here with Esther. She's from Linux Foundation Europe. the foundation is based on the best practices they had with hundreds of projects and so many foundations. We are reusing that to make it as easy for us as best for everyone who joins to make the best out of it. So we don't want. So we also had the idea in the beginning: should we create our own foundation with our ideas and construct? But this doesn't make sense, right? So we want to be open and we want to make it as easy as possible in joining the foundation and doesn't make it too SAP focused, for example. Therefore, we had a long discussion with Linux Foundation Europe, as this is Brussels based, right? That's important for us as a European project. But what Esther showed in the beginning, the antitrust policy, we are not stopping also other international companies joining the foundation. That's why it's for everyone should have the same rights and interest. It just should fit to the mission statement, what we created in the initial charter, that it makes sense. But yeah, that's it. And I think creating a foundation, it takes time, and the more people are coming to it, the more complex it is. Therefore, it took us longer to form the foundation in the beginning. But yeah, I think we are making good progress and happy for having discussions on if something can be improved.
Okay, maybe one more question regarding the promotion, because like platform mesh, I really like the idea because I think that's how it should be. So I will consider contribute there. How do you plan to promote that? Are you planning to have like ambassadors for projects, or let's say NeoNephos ambassadors? Because in the end, the standard is only as good as its adoption. So we need to promote it to all the providers out there, right? Reach out to whatever names. We can start with sovereign clouds, but maybe also even, other hosters, right? Smaller ones that no one knows yet. It would be a great chance for them to adapt this, so they can be seen, they can register, and this. Where's the promotion happening and the marketing?
Do you want to say something, Vaso? Maybe I can also say one.
Yeah. So first of all of our companies, I mean, Stackit, T-Systems, and SAP, we have our outbound channels on the one hand side. We also collected money in NeoNephos. We actually want to foster a roadshow. We want to maybe have a NeoNephos day not at this one, it's too early, at the next LFOS summit. We want to use the infrastructure of the Linux Foundation that is already there. So yes, but in order to do that, there has to be something tangible there. Yes, we have one project which is industrially used, but we want to do a little bit more. This has to develop. There's still some development time necessary, but then we will augment it, of course, with outbound marketing channels and so on. So what we did, by the way, we actually, I can only speak for the Apiro projects at this moment, right? We actually went to Cloudland and gave talks and started an early outbound exercise. We also demonstrated the platform mesh as an example there with demonstrators. And the same will happen in the Linux Foundation OS Summit in August. So that's the first time, and we still have to ramp up the exercise more or less in a joint fashion. I mean, think about it. Stackit is also involved in Alaska, and you can see that there are some nice YouTube channel videos and so on. We want to have exactly that, but we have to find ourselves. I mean, I think what Christian didn't mention is, the question is, if you look at why is the NeoNephos structure, the rules, why are they not there yet? Well, what would have been if you look at the timeline, I mean, we could have sat down behind closed doors, set the rules, and then published them and said, that's it, right? That would be like doing it as a benevolent dictator. And we opted, there's quite some time pressure, and we don't know it all. This is new open source. That's also the reason why we opted for the Linux Foundation. We gather their best practices, and even in the CNCF, where we are quite active, all of these rules are dynamic, right? And so we want to learn from them, maybe copy some of those rules and see what fits our use case. Now we're a little bit different because we have a European mission, right? That's where how this thing came about. We have to stay close to that, and from that come a few differences, I would say, on what we will do and not do, right?
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
We are collecting all of that money to improve the project. So this money will go into the technical documentation, into CI/CD, and to promote the projects, and to have these booths, meetups, and marketing activities which the projects deserve. So, but everything needs to be organized, so it takes a little bit of time. And also, as we are now getting ready with the foundation, with the Technical Advisory Council, everything needs to be set up, but we are getting there, and then we can start also have these investments. But also what Vasu said, we want to have value, right? So we don't want to have just marketing campaigns without content. Doesn't make sense. So we want to show you something before we want to really invest.
Yeah, maybe you can post at some point where you want help from the outside, right? To establish all this. So why not?
Yeah, write it down. Thanks.
Why don't publish all the stuff that needs help, ideation for, I don't know, ambassador program or whatever. I can also make up some ideas and just ask you and send it to you.
Yeah.
Make it easy for people to help.
Maybe if you want, you can also put your mail address here. I get in contact with you, or you just drop me a mail.
I will drop you a mail, or I will find you. Sure. Cool.
Right. So we are now over time. Thanks for joining. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. So happy to help. Happy to work with you. And we are just in the beginning, so it's a long road. We are ahead, but we are happy to work with you on that. So thanks for joining. Hope to see you next time, and maybe you get a member, or we see some contributions from you. So take care. Bye.